today we have got ourselves another patch for Guild Wars 2, and there's actually a lot more to it than you might expect. We've got balance, we've got old new content, we've got the Edge of the Mists arena, and on top of that, we have some other pretty cool stuff regarding the legendary that you're going to get for completing all the story as well. So we have the legendary for doing all these fresh, cool new achievements there, and all this other stuff there as well. And even a few bug fixes in raids, if you guys can believe that, right? If you guys can believe it, we even have that. Wow. Absolutely incredible, okay? Absolutely incredible. So let's leap right into it here, guys, with the release notes. So right at the top here, we have this introduction to the Living World Season 2. So what's happening is that every week now, we're going to be getting a few episodes of old Living Story content. So if you don't have that unlocked, log into the game and you'll actually get Season 2 and 3 for free right now. So for example, this week we're having episodes 1 and 2 of Season 2, then 3 and 4, then 5 and 6, right? And then we'll move on to Season 3 there as well. So interestingly enough here as well, there's actually a little bit of info from Timey and Goric in Eye of the North. So if you've actually finished the entire saga, you get a little bit of inside information on what's happening next and, of course, what's going on there as well. Pretty spicy. And, of course, guys, you can actually just directly unlock these. You get a mail there, which will directly unlock that stuff there as well, and it will be free to purchase in the gem store to obtain those things there as well. And that's pretty cool stuff. So if you do miss a week, these achievements that they've added to the game, guys, they're actually permanent. And it is worth noting these achievements are actually very easy. We can actually see them right here. And if we go ahead and go to bonus events, basically this is the really big meta achievement. You just got to do 3 of these, right? And then to fully complete it, you have to do 12 of them. So how many there are? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So if you do actually want to fully complete it, you have got to do all 12. But good news, they're all insanely easy, right? It's play through the story, essentially. Return to this Scarlet's Breakthrough, return to Fallen Hopes, return to Trouble Fall Summit, etc. Then it's collect 10 chests, right, in a few different areas. Very easy, right? It's do 10 events, and then it is mine and gather, right, herbs, right, plants, and of course trees. So very easy to do this. This is like a day, like less than a day to do this. You don't need to worry about guides or anything like that, guys. You don't have to do the actual regular achievements, guys, because of course these things all come with their regular achievements. And if you are interested in hunting AP, I'd actually highly recommend getting involved in this stuff, guys, because when ArenaNet released this content, the Living Story Season 2 and Season 3, they actually were much more generous with achievement points. And yeah, you're going to get a lot more juice out of getting these this by farming up all this AP here as well. So if you like achievement points, then you actually might want to go back and do the old stuff there as well. But you don't actually have to do that if you want the legendary. And you can actually see the legendary here as well, here too. It's actually in side stories in current events. It's kind of a returning thing that hasn't been around for a while here, but you can actually see exactly what to do here. So for completing the full-on meta event here, or meta achievement rather, you are going to get a 100 achievement points for going back and doing all this. So again, ArenaNet being a little bit generous here, at least a little bit more than usual, and you will actually get some very good rewards, guys, right? Very, very good rewards. You get a free Ascended Weapon chest for doing the first tier, which is doing 4, right, of these little meta things there, the return metas. Then the second one is the precursor for the Gen 3 legendary weapons coming with the expansion. So you just get that for free. Boom, easy precursor to make your first legendary. Then you get for the third tier, you get a 32 slot bag, right? Which, by the way, is actually very valuable. I believe this actually costs around 300, 400 gold to actually craft one of these things. So you get a lot of value. This is actually a really nice reward for doing, well, very easy achievements, as we've already seen. And then finally, I'm actually really surprised about this, right? I was expecting that you would actually have to craft this legendary. Well, I was thinking maybe they give it free, maybe they craft it. It was kind of like I was on the fence, right? But actually, you just get it for free. They just go boom, right? You just get this thing completely out of nowhere. We get ourselves a full legendary amulet for doing very, very easy achievements. Now, of course, yeah, everyone who's crafted Transcendence right now, which is the amulet you get from the competitive modes there as well, which you had to actually pay full price for, you're probably feeling a little bit miffed right now. And, of course, it does remain to be seen if this actually has effect, if it doesn't have effects, right? And so on and so on and so on. But still, this is actually very generous, right? This is actually very, very generous indeed for Arena, because they're just giving you, like, an item that, in theory, on paper, is worth around, like, what? 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 gold even. So this is actually like a really big, huge reward for doing this. This is a really nice show of good faith to the community. I think really cool reward to give them. And even more so than that, guys, bear in mind, this is actually going to coincide with the Legendary Armory. And the Legendary Armory is going to allow you to use that legendary amulet on every single one of your characters. So in theory, every player who does this never needs an amulet ever again, because you can use it on every character everywhere. And that's going to be a great hook into players learning about the armory and kind of understanding just how much of a powerful effect. And I think this is good because this is going to really lead players down that road of, oh, the end game in Guild Wars 2 is getting legendary armor. Oh, yeah, of course, right? And I think it will really kind of get players into this concept of this ultra endgame progression, which is working on legendaries, right? So I love that stuff. That's some very good stuff there as well. Great job there by ArenaNet on getting that done there as well. Big content there. So we just basically talked about all of this. We can go ahead and skip on here. We can go ahead and skip this through here as well. And before we go on to the bugs, to the progression skills and the balance patch, we are, in fact, going to be looking at a few little PvE little tweaks here as well, which is, of course, some raid bug fixes. Now, I actually do want to highlight this. I want to highlight this right now because bugs in PvE content have got to borderline mythical level, right? They're almost like part of the experience at this point. Okay, sorry, I just knocked my water over. You know, that was a bug. A bug happened, a physics bug. But anyway, it's almost part of the experience at this stage. And they're actually fixing them. That's very, very positive for me, particularly seeing as it is in raids, which are quote-unquote dead content. So I really like that they are actually taking the time to fix some of this stuff, because these bugs were actually very game-breaking, particularly on challenge mode for Samrog. This was very, very annoying. So the actual bug here was that Samrog would just not pull in spears, so the entire arena would just be covered in spears, and you can't really do anything right about it, because you have to wait until the next pull, which has actually made challenge mode very annoying to deal with. And the same is here with Lagos. Although Lagos was actually an advantage, this is kind of like even a Lagos nerf. Basically, sometimes Canute would not spawn her tornadoes, right? Which is just, you know, she has no mechanics now, right? Oh, wow, incredible. So there you have it, right? So good job there. Well done, ArenaNet. Fixing a few bugs here, and you can actually see this here too, right? You know, we have a few fixes to dragon response missions even there as well, which is kind of cool, right? That is pretty damn cool stuff. We love to see it, guys. We really, really do. Awesome stuff. So let's go ahead and move on up here to the actual balance patch. So we even get a little bit of rationale. We don't have that many changes here, right? There's not a lot of changes going down, but you are going to see a little bit of like what they're thinking, and I love this stuff. Great communication here from ArenaNet. So let's leap into it. In this update, we're performing some follow-up tuning to several professions in order to address balance concerns we've seen from the previous update. This is an ongoing process. We're eagerly watching as the community theorycrafts new builds and tries them in content. And we're gathering data on the play rates of various elite specializations and builds within those specializations as they're played in different content types. We'll continue making future adjustments as necessary to ensure that every profession is represented with viable builds for each game mode. Wow, I mean, that's one hell of a commitment, right? And look, okay. Here's my one nitpick. Are you guys ready for my big nitpick here? Right? Team. Well, I wish they would actually just say, we're looking to do a patch every month, right? Or we're going to do a few little tweaks every few weeks, right? Ooh. Right? Or something like that. Every 2 weeks, every month, right? I don't know. Maybe we do that. Maybe we do this, right? But I really think that they're so close. They are so close here on this stuff. They really are, but just not quite good enough, in my opinion, because, you know, they are making a good commitment here, right? And this is good. And, well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the magnitude of the changes here are not crazy, to be frank, but, you know, we'll see. We've loved seeing the scrapper quickness builds that the community has put together so far. In this follow-up tuning update, we're increasing the base quickness mod by kinetic accelerators so that inspiring quick scrappers will have more flexibility in their choice of utility skills. Kinetic accelerators. Increase the duration of applied quickness from 2 to 2.5. Like, what? Why is this so trash? Are they worried about it becoming, like, OP? So, I mean, let's talk about this, right? Like, this is not a good build. I mean, you know, it isn't. And the actual issue is that it's not even with the numbers. Like, even if they actually made it a lot stronger, like, even if they made it like 3 seconds or 4 seconds, the issue with it is that the heal build doesn't work very well. Because if you're playing the heal build, you want to have abilities that actually support, right? So if I'm on a heal scrapper, I want to give my team damage reduction. I want to grief my team by going into Elixir S, right, and then killing them with Bulwark Gyro. I want to use Purge Gyro to cleanse conditions, right? I want to use my Heal Gyro to actually heal, right? Okay, that's what I want to do. You know what? You want to use these things, or you want to use Medkit to actually, you know, you want to use your heal skill here, Bandage Self, to actually heal, right? You don't want to run around doing that, right? You don't want to spam this. And again, you might not want to run Pure Gyros. For example, you probably want to run Elixir Gun there as well, or you may want to for some additional healing there, right? You don't want to be locked into running a billion gyros that you spam off CD, right? That is not good. You don't want to do that. Like, support roles are reactive, right? You don't want to have a rotation on a support role because that defeats the purpose of, right, of a support role. You don't want to do that, right? And this means that this design here, with the way this works, is fundamentally flawed, right? Like, and I'd have to sit down and think about how I would make Quickness Scrapper work, but I think it needs, okay, I know it sounds really depressing for the poor old devs who obviously thought about doing this and wanted to make this build work. In my opinion, Quickness Scrapper needs a straight-up rework. I don't think this current implementation is good. Like, it works for the DPS variant to an extent, because you end up playing with, you know, you could playing Blast Gyro and Shredder Gyro. That's okay, right? You don't mind doing that to give super speed in that regard, right? Like, you know, you can get away with that. Right, like running gyros in this direction is okay. But again, you have to dedicate so much of your builders, and you're going to have to still dedicate a lot of boon duration to actually making this work, compared to a Firebrand, which basically just gives up almost nothing, right, to give quickness, that you just drop a little bit of DPS, and you have so much better utility, you know, like way better versatility in what you can do and what you can bring to them. You got the Aegis, you got the Reflect, you got protection, you got some healing there, you got great damage, great cleave, and I don't know, like, I don't think this build is good. I don't think this changes enough here. Like, this is not enough to make it good. I mean, it's playable, don't get me wrong. Like, it's not, they're right, it's viable, but it's just so down on the bottom end, right? Like, the heal build, at the heal quickness build, and the DPS, because it's so down on the lower end of, like, usefulness that I don't know, I don't really like it. So, Guardian. Now, they're like, oh yeah, let's give Guardian 30 condition damage. So they actually want to, like, they want to add a little bit of damage here. Just a smidge, right? A teeny tiny bit of damage. Back into Firebrand there. We're watching how the recent changes to Guardian traits have impacted play, and we're pleased with how the recent tuning to Firebrand's burst has worked out. To help ease the lost burst potential, we're adding a very minor amount of additional condition damage into Power of the Virtuous. This, by the way, guys, is 30. So this gives you 13% of your vitality and condition damage in all game modes, up from 10%. That is 30. The extra 3% is 30 because you start with 1,000 vitality. And normally you won't have any vitality, right? Because you're going to be playing in full Viper. So you gain a very minor, right, amount of condition. This is fine. I mean, like, I actually don't think Firebrand was over-nerfed. ArenaNet obviously do a teeny tiny bit. But this doesn't really matter that much, right? This is completely okay. Mesmer. Okay, well, oh no. The hammer has arrived. Well, let's see if the hammer's arrived. We're excited by how enthusiastic everyone is for the staff-wielding Mirage. With the well, yeah, dude, people love auto attack and 50k DPS. With the recent improvements to Chaos traits, the Torment conditions performance in PvE, and the changes to Staff skills themselves, Staff is currently overperforming as a boon support weapon. That is an overstate. That is an understatement, right? Okay. 50k DPS personal, 25 might and accurate at the same time. No boon duration, right? Yes. We'd like to keep Axe and Torch as the DPS build and ease the performance of the Mirage's staff down into a competitive support build, which means lowering its overall damage output and confusion uptime. So mantras. Well, okay, well that's not quite the same thing, but they've just basically fixed some bugs here. Basically, the way traits would work is that they a lot of the time they'd sometimes proc when you basically channel the mantra, right? Or rather when you use a charge of the mantra, but now they basically change the way the skills are, so you don't really channel them anymore, so it's a bit different. So now you actually get your stun break when you activate it properly, and you also get your healing trait proc there as well. So nice little bug fix there. This is a trait in Inspiration that removes a condition. Basically, Mender's Purity is, you know, when you use a heal skill, remove a call in the AoE. Actually very handy for some raids, right? Like stuff like Doom and Sloth, right? For breaking the stun and cleansing the Torment on the knockback on Doom. So it's actually a pretty cool trait there as well. All right. So, Winds of Chaos. When cast by a clone, the durations applied to Torment and Confusion have been reduced from 5 seconds to 2 seconds in all game modes. Look, that is a big nerf, and it deserves it, by the way, right? Because one of the really big issues with Staff Barrage is that just having 3 clones up was giving you, like, 40 stacks of confusion the entire time. And you would shatter, right? You would use 1 shatter, right? You would just use Cry of Frustration and just keep 3 clones up the entire time. Like, just spam an auto attack on Winds of Chaos. And, of course, the clones then actually buff a little bit, too. Right? They do lots of damage, and they buff, right? Then you're also getting the buffing from the staff, too. Pretty crazy stuff. So it is good, in my opinion, they've gone in this direction. That is a pretty hefty nerf, and it's going to knock the DPS down a lot here as well. And they did reduce the alacrity there to match Quickness Scrapper from 3 seconds to 2. So this change is basically saying we want you to have to dedicate a bit more to boon duration. I'm not actually entirely convinced if this will make you do that, though. I think you're still going to have an overabundance of it, particularly with stuff like the energy sigil, right, with the weapon swapping, and even potentially like endurance food, and of course, say, having a chronomancer to extend it and provide a bit of alacrity on their own with, say, shield 5, right, tied to time. I'm not actually completely convinced you're actually going to dedicate to this, because, yeah, you lose a bit of duration, but honestly, like, you actually spammed a lot of alacrity like that. Right, really, really hard. So, not totally convinced it'll actually have the, will actually make you do that. But the damage is going to be down a lot. But it's not down that much. That's the thing, guys. I actually don't think, you have to wait until the nerds crunch the numbers. But, like, this is still going to do a lot of DPS. Because a lot of the damage is still absolutely going to be there. The amount of, like, passive confusion there is going to get nerfed down. But this is still going to be an absolutely devastating build in PvE. This is still an amazing build. Like, make no mistake, guys. Like, this is not that bad. Necromancer. Necromancer doesn't... Look, okay? Guys, everyone... Whoa. Wait, is this... Look, I'm actually exposing ArenaNet, guys. Okay? I'm actually exposing ArenaNet. Look at this. Guys, look at this. Right? Necro is the only profession that just doesn't get a comment. Right? They're like, yeah. Okay, you get nothing, right? We're not even going to say anything. Look, Ranger does, Rev does, Thief does, right? Necro, like, no, we say nothing, right? We won't care about you, right? Dude, Warrior, you're not even on the patch notes, right? Dude, you're dead. Like, you're irrelevant. Like, what? Warrior, no one even cares about you. You don't even exist, right? Anyway, Necromancer. Demonic Law. Okay, reduce torment damage bonus from 33% to 25% in PvE only. So, this doesn't matter, right? Necro's still OP. You know what? I'm not even going to analyze the changes, guys, because Necro is still insane. Stop complaining about it. Get out there and play. It's busto. Like, this is going to nerf your damage down by a little bit. Not actually that much. I would still expect to see 36k DPS coming out of this on the Golem. It's amazing. It's a god tier trait still. Necro is still god tier. Ranger. Oh, dude, I honestly, the Ranger changes were really funny. Like, because they were like, oh, we're going to tone it down a little bit. And they just, like, smashed it, right? Like, last patch, guys, they nerfed Sikkim, right? And it massively nerfed Soulbees, right? Soulbees went from being really, really strong to being kind of mediocre. So they're looking to rectify that here. The reduction in the previous update to Soulbees damage via Sikkim cut their overall damage output below the level we'd like to see from a comparative power damage per second specialization. To that end, we're giving Soulbees back a significant DPS effect in PvE content by increasing the power of the Furious strength trait. This means have Fury, do more damage, right? And, well, there you go. Now you get strike damage, another 5%. So they're just giving you about 5% of your damage back. Of course, damage multipliers are actually multiplicative. So this is actually a bigger deal than it actually may sound, particularly seeing as you obviously, when you're playing a Soul Beast, you're very bursty, so you burst with all of your bursts at the same time and all of your modifiers at the same time. So this is actually more impactful than you might think. This is a nice change. Revenant. Revenants have access to more damage reduction from traits than other professions, and combinations of these can be especially potent. We're making some adjustments here to bring the Revenant more in line with our general trait design for damage reduction and combat sustainability. With the recent addition of the Resolution boon, Righteous Rebel also has allowed Revenants to stack an extremely high resistance to condition damage. Given that Revenants have strong access to the Resolution boon, we've also reevaluated the high degree of condition damage resistance provided by Righteous Rebel. A slight reduction to damage from the Devastation specialization is also being made to help preserve competitive competitive, and the diversity of options between Devastation and Invocation. Because it turned out, guys, that Devastation was basically nearly as good as Invocation, if not better, and made you immortal thanks to Battle Scars. Okay, so let's get into this. So, let's talk about what they actually mean here for a start, guys. There were actually a few builds that were being used to solo or duo raid bosses using Revenant that were literally invulnerable. And I don't mean like, oh, you heal a lot, or, oh, you know, you take massively reduced damage. No, you would take 0 damage from anything, conditions or power. Now, of course, that kind of went away because resistance doesn't really work the way it used to. You know, you could only get like 33% with resolution or something like that instead of 100% with resistance, but still pretty damn juicy, right? Pretty good stuff there. And not exactly like the most meta-defining build ever, but it was certainly a very kind of like silly meme for open world PvE and like soloing raid stuff there. So they've now essentially made this impossible, right? Demonic resistance, strike damage taken has now gone down to 20% in PvE only. So in other words, guys, this meant that while you have resistance, you take less damage, right? And it was 33%. This allowed you to have perma resistance and go completely invulnerable to power damage. And of course, Connie damage, because you have resistance, right? Of course, then they changed resistance, so less so. But still, a lot of stuff does power damage. Now you took no damage from it, right? Was a little bit silly, guys. Wasn't good, right? Battle Scars. Base healing reduced by 1/3 in PvE only. This is honestly fine. This is still God tier, by the way, right? Like, it makes you a little bit less immortal, but you are still very immortal, particularly if you're running Trailblazer, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. And unsuspecting strikes. Reduce bonus strike damage from 25% to 20% in PvE only. I actually don't mind this change. I think this is actually quite an intelligent change, because one of the really weird things about this build was that, and this was for like Power Renegade and Boon Rev, is that it was actually a giga-bursty build, right? Combining this, Unsuspecting Strikes, with Battle Scars made this build absolutely insanely bursty. So it's kind of okay this is happening. And, you know, I think stuff like Boon Rev probably does do a bit too much damage. So this is fine, right? This is not a problem. Okay, Retribution, they're basically doing the same thing here, just reducing the damage reduction here as well. Reduce the strike damage taken from 15% to 10% in all gamers. This means this trait does, while you have resolution, take less damage. Now it's just a little bit less extreme, so you just don't stack up this infinite damage reduction. And also, particularly in PvP, because we're going to talk about this about PvP, guys, right, very, very shortly. But this actually appears to be the thing that is actually going to affect PvP, because this is actually in all gamers, guys. And look, everyone loves to hate Renegade, and it looks like Renegade is absolutely going to take a bit of a hit here, actually, because you did actually run this out, guys. You would actually run Retribution, and this is a minor trait, I believe. So you actually have that passively. And you also do indeed run Righteous Rebel in PvP as well. At least a lot of the revs, sometimes play that or always play Righteous Rebel to give you that condition damage reduction. Because the thing is, what Righteous Rebel does, guys, is it gives you damage reduction per stack of Callous Fervor. But the thing is, Callous Fervor is weird because you always have 5 stacks, right? That's just the way it works. So you essentially had permanent 35% condition damage reduction, and that's now getting slapped down now there as well, down to 20%, down from 35. So that is actually a significant nerf, right? To Renegade in PvP, particularly seeing as Renegade's difficulty and Renegade's weakness was that it could actually suffer from condition damage, right? Like, you know, for example, Mirages, Condition Scourges, right? Condi Heralds, right? Could absolutely kind of bunker bust or break through the Renegade, and this is one of its defenses against that, and now it doesn't have that anymore. So it will actually essentially suffer a bit. Now, bear in mind, Resolution is still in the game, so that does kind of, you know, Condi in general in PvP got nerfed very hard because Resolution got added, right? Like right off the bat. Resolution being added kind of, you know, shoved a lot of the condition damage builds pretty hard in PvP. So this isn't actually as bad as it sounds, because Condi took a pretty big hit because of this boon being added to the game anyway. But this is definitely a hit to Rev there as well. But Renegade is still going to be probably pretty strong, I would say. Like, you know, I saw Goku earlier in chat saying that Renegade is dead. Yeah, I'm not sure about that one, buddy, right? I think we are going to still see Azaz, okay, making it work there, and I'm sure some other players there as well, getting some value out of Renegade in PvP. And then Soul Cleave, they actually tried to compensate for this. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, So here's the thing about Soul Cleave, is that they've given it a 1-second ICD, so a 1-second cooldown on proccing per player. Like, I think that feels bad. They buffed the healing up by 50%, so it will actually give you a lot more sustain than last patch, but it's not even close to its original glorious form. Now, its original glorious form was pretty busto, right? So I think that's fine. But I'd actually like to see this reworked. I feel like having a 1-second ICD, it just makes the ability feel bad to use and not that much fun. So I'd actually like to see it reworked. Okay, and then Thief. Oh, it was good while it lasted, guys. Okay, no! Deadeye's performance is especially strong in PvE as a condition damage role. At the moment, specific pistol skills are overperforming due to recent improvements to condition damage and Thief traits. We're excited to see Deadeye get more play, and we'll see more... Oh, dude, yeah, said no PvP player ever, by the way. And we'll make tuning adjustments as necessary in future updates to ensure that both it and Daredevil have strong damage builds available with a variety of weapons. So... they're just going to... I think they've actually... Yeah, they're taking a bit of a hacksaw to it here, haven't they? Yeah, Shadow Strike, 4 to 2 stacks of Torment. Ooh, ouchie! Right, and Repeater, increased the initial cost from 2 to 3, and the bleeding duration is down from 4 to 3 there as well. So, why is that relevant, guys? Repeater is relevant because Shadow Strike lets you use Repeater for a bit of time. So, basically, you use Shadow Strike, then you can start spamming Repeater. So these two skills are actually inherently linked together there as well with how that works. And Sneak Attack, reduce applied bleeding duration from 6 to 5 in PvE only. This now matches the duration in PvP and World vs. World. So that's, you know, just a little bit of a side note as well. This is the stealth attack on pistol, basically, which you could obviously generate there by using Pistol Dagger, by using the Cloak and Dagger, and then using the Sneak Attack there as well, is how you go by doing that, in addition to all the other stealth things there as well. So yeah, this is actually pretty significant, guys. This is a bit of a wallop, actually. They actually slapped this. I think it will still be pretty strong. It's still going to do some good DPS, but it's certainly going to be a lot more toned down in the region where it should be. You know, guys, actual hot take here, right? Hot take. They may have actually over-nerfed this, because this build is actually a bit of a pain in the ass to pull off, and as a result of that, and it often doesn't bring that much utility to the table. This actually might be an overnerf to Colony Deadeye, actually. Because, yeah, I know it did, like, crazy DPS, particularly in Fractals. It was, like, very, very bursty. But I almost felt like what they could have done is they actually could have maybe increased the duration on some of this stuff a little bit and made it slower and less bursty. Because the thing is, it was, like, ultra, ultra bursty, right? But now it's going to be, like, good damage. But again, like, it's awkward with the teleport, with Shadow Strike. It's a bit annoying. Doesn't really bring that much to the table. It's very squishy, right? Like, you're not really getting a lot of juice out of this, right? Like, it's pretty ouchy, right, on this build there. But it will still be playable. But there you go. And they also did the exact same thing, of course, for Deadeye, right? Because, you know, they wanted to nerf the pistol attacks there as well for Deadeye. So, now, before we move on, guys, to the Edge of the Mist Arena, because I definitely want to go check that out right now, actually. One thing that is missing here are a lot of PvP changes. Okay? Obviously, we're crying out for a Prot Hollow nerf. Please! Please nerf the unkillable Prot Hollow. And, of course, also looking at Scourge, kind of slowing things down, just being annoying and obnoxious, ruining our 2v2s, right? Which is not really a lot of fun there. And this is not a full balance patch either, right? We didn't see anything to Warrior, and I think Warrior does need a look, particularly. I think, I would like to see Tactics Warrior. I would, right? I want to see Tactics Warrior. Okay? But we don't. Okay? And I think Ellie could do another look there as well, right? You know, like give Power Builds a little bit of a tune up there on Ellie. Power Weaver, I think, should be a really big pumper, right? In the same way that Condi Weaver is. Maybe even buff Tempest, so my build guide gets 1 million views because of how unbelievably overpowered they make it, right? That would be great there as well. So this is like a little hotfix build here. I'd expect more. And, but yeah, it sucks there are no PP changes here. I imagine that CMC will be activating very, very soon, guys, right? I'm really hoping to see that. We don't see that here. And I think we are definitely overdue a PvP balance patch. Of course, the season has just started now, so it's entirely possible that we get one in 2 weeks, like a bit of a mid-season balance patch. I actually don't think it would take a lot for CMC to actually get to fix PvP. Like, I'm not a huge fan of, like, deleting something, but man, just delete Scourge. I mean, like, just make it garbage, right? I think that's just would be good for the game. Right? I mean, look, I know there's a lot of, bots. ArenaNet loves bots playing, they don't want to, alienate the bot audience who loves to play Scourge. But look, they can play Core Minion Monster or something like that. I don't know, they can play that too, right? But Scourge is basically making PvP suck right now, right? This is true. I mean, like... I don't know what to say, right? Like, even Prot Holo, fine. I can deal with that. But like Scourge, just like it makes Reaper bad, it makes Herald bad, it makes everything bad, right? It's not fun, right? It's not fun to play. Get rid of it, okay? Just get it out of PvP right now, right? It is not good. Yes, yeah, you're right. It is fun to play. Dude, when I'm going out, I'm doing a nice 2v2 with my double Scourge. I'm like, look, they can't do anything. Oh, look, I'm at full health. Oh, no, they're running away. Oh, no. Oh, they're dead, all right? Yeah, then I'm having a great time, right? But my opponents are thinking like, okay, I'm uninstalling, right? Like, that's the problem there. It is not good. And to us guys, like, just for a brief thing on Scourge, like, Scourge, in my opinion, is just unfixable for PvP. Like, Scourge in PvP is inherently busto, right? It is busto because it just has this ability to pressure, to peel, to revive, to support, right? To cleanse, boon rip, right? It just does all this stuff at the same time. And unless you rework the profession mechanic, there's nothing you can do about it, right? Like, it's always going to be so disgusting because it just does everything at the same time, right? Really hard to kill, and its profession mechanic is just stupid, right? Like, it's just busted. It should never be good in PvP. It just shouldn't be there, right? Same thing with, like, Kala. Like, Kala on Renegade, it was incredibly corrosive to the game mode, because it turns out that covering the entire point with a pulsing daze is not fun. And that's the thing. Scourge shouldn't be good. Just delete it. Get rid of it. So that's that there as well. And I would like to see more extensive changes. But, I mean, look, I have to say, guys, like, we are getting patches every 2 weeks right now. Okay, we had balance patch 2 weeks ago, and now we have another balance patch now. I would love to see Arena actually communicate about this and actually go ahead and say, yeah, we're going to go ahead and look to do a patch every 2 weeks for a while. Just do a few little tweaks here and there. I think that would be a massive step in kind of building up trust with the community. I'm loving this stuff here as well. I'm loving the extra little thoughts that we're getting, like the explanations of what they think. I would love that. I want to see them say, yeah, we're going to try and crank this out every 2 weeks, maybe every 2 weeks, maybe every month, a few changes here and there. Awesome. I would love that, right? Bug fixes, right? New builds getting tweaked and arranged there as well. PvP changes, PvE changes. I would love it, right? That would be so cool running up to the expansion, particularly if they continue that as well. Because bear in mind, guys, they'd better get used to hot fixing. They'd better get used to it. Because let me tell you guys, week 1 of the expansion, things are going to be busted. It's going to be broken. So they'd better make sure, right, that they're okay with doing that. I'm just saying, because there's going to be a lot of work for them to do, believe me, right? There's going to be a lot to do in that regard. So, good sign here for the future, but certainly not the conclusion, right? Like, our PvP friends, and of course myself, I want to, I like PvP too, World vs. World. Like, I want to see a lot of attention to World vs. World, a lot of attention to PvP, okay? But this is definitely a good start and a good baseline from what we can expect from ArenaNet. Let's actually talk about something else that is unbelievably awesome here, guys. It really, really is. Look what we have here. Of course, this is not officially in the game yet. It's being data mined by our favorite Twitter user, that Shaman, the Flame Legion cartographer. Of course, we actually saw this for the Masters of the Arena PvP tournament, an actual community tournament title. And look at what we have here. I love this. This is amazing from ArenaNet. Big shout out to ArenaNet for even doing this stuff. Right, we actually have the title, which will be for community-run tournaments for PvP, probably PvE, if I had to guess, and then finally Beetle Racing at the same time. I absolutely love that there. awesome. Of course, there's a GvG tournament coming up just now, and hopefully that will actually be available for that tournament. That's not confirmed as of yet, but if it's in the game, then I would expect that to be the case. Community hero for the raid tournament, guys. Well, okay, I don't know if there are any raiders here, guys, but yeah, you might be looking out for that in July from the Hard Stuck raiding party. The raid tournament will probably have that title, and of course, I am looking to even go ahead and get this Community Driftmaster title for a Beetle tournament that will be running very, very soon as well. And this kind of thing is amazing, guys. I am a huge fan of what ArenaNet is doing this, like just giving a bit more power to the partners, giving a bit more potential to partnered events there, to do a lot of stuff, to make loads of cool stuff and really make the community like get excited, like feel rewarded and be able to have this like level of prestige that previously isn't really possible. Having a reward connected to the game for a community event, in my opinion, is very, very special. And I think ArenaNet's doing a great job here. I want to see more stuff like this, more unique rewards for tournaments, like more engagement from ArenaNet with tournaments, right? I mean, look, hey, next step, guys, I want this stuff notified in the game. When my tournament's running, guys, I want to see a notification in game. Let's go, guys, okay? Ultimate sellout, ultimate content. We actually have some super cool stuff going down here, actually, in Edge of the Mists. All right, then. So here we are. Let's go ahead and check out how this actually works real quick. So as we walk to the Edge of the Mist, guys, basically, they've added GvG support. GvG support is in the game right now, and there is an ability for teams to go ahead and join whatever team that they actually like, so they can spectate whatever tournament they want, spectate whatever's going on here in the arena. So let's go ahead and check out the spectate. What you can see here, guys, is that you actually have all these different things here. You have to channel this too, actually, which, well, I'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, you can join the red team, the blue team, right? The spectator team there as well. Yeah, but there you go. As you can see, we can actually fly around here. So it's not quite the the PvP spectate thing. Wait, what's going on actually? Like, let me go down. Wait, why won't it let me go down? I'm trying to channel it, but like, oh, wait, can I only go that close? Oh, really? So that's actually as close as you can go. So in fact, we're still gonna have to kind of do some FOV stuff there. I thought it would have let me go a little bit closer than that, but it looks like you actually have to be quite high up. This is probably presumably so that passive effects and like AoE doesn't affect people that you might have in some kind of unforeseen way. Because it looks like, yeah, you just basically get stopped if you try to go any lower than that. But yeah, we are essentially completely invisible here, and we can kind of look down on the arena like that to give an idea, like a good idea of what's going on. So I think this is actually a pretty solid implementation. We're not that fast, but it's not going to be necessary as long as you do have a good vantage point. And you're probably still going to see reduced FOV used here with the first-person perspective to really get like a good view of the action, guys, right? Like a good view of the action. But there you go. Pretty cool stuff there, actually. I like that. I also want to talk about the channels here, by the way, guys. This is actually really, really cool. Because the thing is about the channels is that means that if someone does try to grief and join a team, you'll actually be able to interrupt them. Right? You'll be able to interrupt or kill them while they're channeling. And this will actually allow you to prevent them from interfering. This is actually a great tool for the GvG police. But this is honestly, I love this implementation. It isn't perfect. It would be better to have it a bit more like the PvP spectate, obviously, where you can click on players and follow them around and have a bit more freedom with the way you are and move the camera around. But this is a really, really cool solution, and obviously a bit of almost like a bit of a side project that Arena has developed, and a really good show of faith and a good show of good show of love to the GvG community. And I think they're going to have a lot of fun with this, guys. They're going to have a lot of fun with this stuff because it's going to help deny griefers. It's going to allow them to not worry about what server they're on. Any server on EU can now GvG any guild anytime, right? And that's awesome, right? Because previously, the way Edge of the Mist works, guys, is that all the winning servers are on the same color, all the middle servers are on the same color, and all the losing servers are all on the same color. There's Guild MM, by the way. Yep, there you go. Guild MM in play, guys. But, you get the picture, right? Like, it was a bit of a hassle to actually get GvG. You had to transfer a lot. You had to be here. You had to be there, be everywhere. Bit annoying, right? There you go. Look, there are things that need to be worked on here. Obviously, there are still a few issues with this, guys. For example, you can't make an instance. Bear in mind, guys, the Edge of the Mist is fairly quiet. So there's only usually one copy of this arena that actually exists in the game, because it's like on a per-map basis, there's only one arena. So as I was chatting with Roy the other day, like maybe add 3 arenas, like maybe 1 for each area. This is kind of like the green one. You could have a snowy one and a desert one there as well. Like, you know, each zone can have its own arena. You could have a system to make your own overloads there, or you could, of course, simply make Edge of the Mist relevant so there are more copies just available at any given time. All those solutions would be pretty damn good. But yeah, this is honestly a great implementation. I think this is a great sign, and I love that ArenaNet kind of like had the time to actually kind of do this there. And I'd love to see more improvements to it and more enhancements to stuff like this and supporting community-driven stuff over time there as well. Yeah, that is awesome stuff. I love to see it, guys. I love to see it indeed. You know, this patch, guys, I know that it's not everything that we wanted here. I know we wanted more. Overall, this is actually an awesome patch. I love what ArenaNet is showing here. I really do, guys. I love what they're doing here. This is fantastic. The direction they're going in here with this. It is super cool. They are bringing back fresh content, old content for people to enjoy, giving away free stuff to get them hooked on the armory, regular balance updates, hopefully to PvE and PvP, bug fixes there as well across the board, DRMs getting fixed, raids getting fixed there a little bit, to GvG support being added, great communication here. I've got to say, this is looking really, really good. This is a very good sign, in my opinion, actually, for the stuff. There are things that are missing, yes, but, you know, like, I think we should encourage ArenaNet to actually continue on this path that they've actually started walking down and improve themselves and keep getting even better. Because I think this is actually a great update, right? There are things that are missing, and we should remind ArenaNet of that, but this is a fantastic start, and they're doing a good job of this so far, right? They absolutely are. We love to see that, guys. Good post there, good communication, great job, ArenaNet. Give us more! And that'll about do it. That wraps it up.